Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of my live podcast, Danfonce Talks Metal. I have Albert from Decibel Magazine with me today. Albert, I'm really stoked to have you here. It's been awesome to see the magazine grow throughout the years and continue and still putting out issues, print, not digital, not stop putting out print magazines, physical magazines. So it's fucking awesome. But so how have you been through
I've been well, man.
yeah?
I've been well. Yeah, thanks for having me. First
Same.
of all, and
Yeah.
my first appearance on the Twitch.
Yes, this is it.
Very, very exciting.
Yeah.
Twitch cherry is getting popped right
Yeah.
now.
It is.
Um, but yeah, man, no, we've been obviously very busy
Yeah.
for 17 consecutive years.
It's fucking wild,
But,
man.
but yeah, we just released our 200th issue
Yes.
just last week,
And that
featuring At the Gates on the cover, and we're gearing up for our 200th issue live stream.
oh,
Well, not
okay.
live. Our 200th issue, Extremely Extreme,
I like
um,
that name.
which will be Friday, April 30th, and we'll
Oh
have
yeah, that's right. I forgot
it's,
about
yeah,
this, dude.
it's gonna rule. It's like
It's
brand new live performances from Midnight and Chemist and Full of Hell and
yeah.
Horrendous and Wake and lots of other rad stuff we crammed in there when nobody was looking. So
Yeah.
it'll be great.
Yeah, here it is. That's right. It's when is it? This Friday? It's loading still.
Next Friday.
Next
Next
Friday.
Friday,
Oh yeah,
April
here we go.
30th, at 8 p.m. East Coast
Eastern.
time, 5 p.m. West Coast, and it will be free on
Free
the YouTube. Free on the YouTube.
on the YouTube.
Yeah, you get all those sets. You get our dark
Wow.
shit mixed in with it, and all free.
This is fucking rad. Here, I'm
Yeah.
gonna post a link in the chat for everyone. If you guys want the info on the stream that they're doing next Friday, there you go. I mean, yeah. Someone said, "Can you make the price lower?"
You can pay us. We'll pay you to watch.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's fucking rad. That's a sick lineup, dude. Midnight Chemist, Full of Hell, Horrendous, Wake, and then a bunch of special guest appearances that you
Yes.
will not announce, right? They're
Yo,
just gonna
that's half
pop
the
up during
fun.
the stream. I like that.
Yep. Yep.
Nice little surprise for everybody.
So you can get through all
that?
those blocks of commercials. It'll help you
Yes.
stick around.
So I guess during this whole, we'll definitely, I want to talk more about the 200th issue, which we're definitely going to get to. But
Yep.
I guess through all this pandemic crap, has that affected you guys at all? Or it's
I
kind of
mean,
everything's been the same in a sense.
from the outside, it probably looks like we haven't been affected, but honestly, we have when events went away.
Yeah.
That was a portion of our business. We obviously had to cancel a
Hmm.
tour and two festivals. But truth be told, we have so many other things that we do, whether it's the books that we publish, which we've been doing since 2015.
Yep.
And that was something that really kind of stepped in, and we took we added a book to the schedule that wasn't on the schedule
Oh, really?
initially when the pandemic started. So, you know, basically we would crank out one a year, and we did two last year. And that definitely that eats up a lot of time and a lot of manpower for us. But honestly, for us, we were able to kind of weather that storm with things like that, and the fact that, and I think this has probably been true of a lot of businesses, especially those that deal with mail order. We had a
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
significant increase in subscriptions and book sales, and
Oh, that's good.
the limited edition vinyl exclusives that we get and work with labels and bands on.
Hmm.
So, and I think a lot of that had to do. I think that had to do with two things in particular. One, that there just weren't a lot of other entertainment options for people. Can't go to
Yeah.
a show, so can't go to a bar and spend money. It's like, well, I can get this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it was also just people maybe changing the way that they thought about supporting artists. I think people started maybe buying more physical product than they had
Yeah.
planned on in the past, because
I
they
think
knew they
so
couldn't
too.
yeah, they couldn't go to a show and support a band. They couldn't go and show and buy merch there. So they were just like, you know what? I'm going to start collecting vinyl because I'm home. It helps the bands, and like I'm not going to be like on the train to work. So fuck it. I'll just check this out in this format.
Start this up.
So I think we benefited from that. But yeah, overall, I mean, we're good, which is,
That's great.
Very happy to say, because like when everything first went down, obviously nobody knew what was going to happen. So,
or the extent of it.
Yeah.
How long?
So yeah. I mean, that question still lingers in some regards, but
yeah, it does.
But yeah, no, it was, we are good. We're happy to say we are.
That's great, man. I know, because it's been a long, I mean, I was always wondering that, like, how are these companies, like even like magazine companies, going to get through all this? So I even like noticed that like Kerrang's like U.S. office, like they closed it.
Yeah,
right.
They closed. I mean, there's
like,
different models for different magazines too.
I mean, Kerrang's most based overseas, Europe.
Yeah, they are, and they are weekly, and they had. So for them, newsstand was really, really important also. So when all the newsstands closed, they didn't have anywhere. Yeah, that hurt there. And then the fact that so much of their ad revenue came from live shows and touring. Like if you flip through a print copy of Kerrang, like half of the ads are for shows. Because like Kerrang can reach all of Europe. So in addition to England, I mean, they can like, they'll get advertising for shows happening in like, mainland Europe.
Yeah.
So when the shows went away and when the bookstores closed, like I don't think they really had an alternative. There was nothing viable for them.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're printing again. I'm guessing they are, but I
haven't checked actually. No, it's definitely, I was like sad about that. I was like, damn, dude. I hope they still do like those like Kerrang like live shows that they did. Like Rivers of Nile did it. They filmed it in like New York City and stuff. Like the Kerrang TV.
Yeah, they would do stuff at Vitus regularly.
Yeah, I thought that was like rad. I was like, damn, that's cool. Hopefully they still do that in the future.
I think there'll be opportunity for that stuff. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely with shows coming back, and I think it's gonna. Hopefully, shows will do well. I'm hoping. Well, I think so.
You're the man early on that signaled the alarm long before some other people. So we will defer to your crystal ball.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, earlier this year, I was like, man, I don't know if shit's gonna happen this year. Then like March came around or end of February, I was like, I think we'll be all right. And then the vaccine started rolling out, and I was like, all right, everyone's like really getting this vaccine. It's like my friends are like, I got my first shot like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, okay, so I think we'll be all right. Hopefully, I want to go to fucking your tour and the fest.
Yeah, me too.
Again.
Me too. I've been working on the festival I've been working on that festival for almost 3 years. I'm ready to see it.
I know. You hit me up like, hey man, this is the new date. Can they still do this? Yeah. Yep.
Let me check my calendar. Oh, yeah. It's pretty open.
It's pretty fucking open.
Yeah.
They're down. But anyway, so let's get into like some history on Decibel.
Okay.
When did Decibel start exactly, and whose idea was it?
Decibel started in the summer of 2004, and it was my idea originally. I have worked for this publishing company called Red Flag Media for 25 years now. Wow. And prior to Decibel, the business model for the publisher was basically making these free, independent, general audience music magazines that were distributed at indie record chains throughout the U.S. Okay. So if you remember Tower Records had Pulse magazine.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
So we didn't do Pulse, but we did like the kind of indie version of that for like the regional mid-sized chains that used to be all sprinkled throughout the U.S. 25 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Those kinds of chains that no longer exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was our old business model. And then I had always wanted to do an extreme metal magazine, and our publisher understood that the kind of the old model of those in-store music magazines was in trouble because of the fact that those record stores were in trouble.
Yeah.
So he was receptive to doing a newsstand publication. And since I had the idea and he thought like we need to start moving in this direction and see if it works. So I got the green light in summer of 2004, and then our first issue was our October 2004 issue, which was out in September of 2004.
Wow. Who was on the cover of that one?
The Dillinger Escape Plan.
Nice.
Just as Miss Machine was coming out.
Right, it's the prime for them too.
Yeah, what I remember about issue 1 is Miss Machine cover story, and the lead review in that issue was Converge, You Fail Me. So,
wow.
Yeah, that's how long ago that was.
Is that one still? Do you guys still print those old ones at all, or no?
No, we've sold out of most of the old ones, but we never got rid of our back issues, and we're like unlike most magazines that have been around as long as we have never changed publishers. We've never been sold. We've been the same infrastructure the whole time. So we have all of our shit. We have we've saved all the back issues that we had, and obviously most of the early ones are sold out, but out of the 200 issues, I'd say you could probably get, I don't know, maybe 140 of them from the Decibel site. If you're interested in getting some golden oldies, they're up there.
Yeah, why not? That's fucking awesome. I got to go back and look at those. Yeah. Do you think you would ever reprint the first issue? Have you done that before?
No, we've never. We only reprinted an issue once when.
Oh, okay.
When the issues that we get to sell individually to customers as back issues and that we need for promo, when they were stolen from the front door of our office when they were dropped off by the printer once. So we only had to reprint once. But no, we only do with the magazines. It's no reprints. It's one big run and have at it.
And that's it. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
So whoever has those copies of the first magazine, that's
whatever recycling facility has those.
Do you have a copy of it?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. Yeah.
I do. I'm sure I've managed to archive a copy of everyone and every flexi and everything. So.
Wow. That's a
so
lot.
My kids will have so much shit to throw away when I die. It's going to be very busy.
I hope they don't throw it the fuck away. Keep passing it down. When did you guys start doing like the flexi discs?
The flexi discs are a little over 10 years old. This is the 10th anniversary.
Oh, okay.
Of the series. We started it.
Yeah.
The first one was issue 75, which would have been January 2011, which would have been out around December 2010.
Okay.
And it was a brutal truth with 2 songs, one of which was a re-recording of their classic Walking Corpse, and I don't remember what the other one was. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But it was really it was an idea of something we wanted to do that I wanted to do for a long, long time.
Yeah.
For years. It was I think the first idea it gestated in like 2007 when we put Pig Destroyer on the cover for the first time.
Yeah.
And Scott Hole from Pig Destroyer was like, it would be cool if we could do like a Pig Destroyer flexi disc with the issue. He's like, I have an extra song, we could do this. And,
yeah.
And I was like, yeah, well, let me look into seeing if anybody's printing them, and no one was printing them. And it wasn't until 2010 that a company called Pirates Press, who does a lot of vinyl based in the Bay Area.
Yep. Company.
They got a pressing machine and could handle the volume, because it wasn't like we needed a few hundred flexis, we needed thousands and thousands of them.
Yeah.
So we got hooked up with them, and I honestly didn't know if the series would take off or if it would be like a one-off thing or if we did it every couple months or what, but I just kind of stuck with it, and it got momentum with subscribers, and then it also got momentum with the bands in the scene and people in the industry, just kind of seeing it as this fun marketing piece for them and their artists, and bands just being stoked to have like this weird piece of vinyl that got out there with sometimes with tracks that they didn't necessarily know what to do with otherwise.
Yeah.
So it's had a long, interesting life and a crazy discography, because we've done
dude. Yeah,
over
like
120 of them.
that's fucking nuts. And a lot of the times, is it songs that they didn't put on their record or they wrote specifically for the
Uh,
flexi,
it's
or
about
it's like a
50-50.
mix.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
mix. It's like when we were starting out, it was really, it was like, okay, well, whatever you got lying
yeah.
around.
Give it to
And
us.
I do remember that the first band that recorded something specifically for the series was Napalm Death, and that for me was just, I
That's
mean,
cool,
they're
man.
my
That's
favorite band of all time. So like
yeah. For
for
them to
them
do
to,
that,
yeah, it was
it's
really
fucking
like
cool, man.
super exciting. I think that was like the fifth one we ever did.
Oh
But
wow,
yeah,
early on too. That's
but
sick.
now, yeah, it's really like it really varies. Like people will come at us really early saying we want to do a song, or sometimes you get the I've got this song
Yeah.
doesn't fit the record. You know, like it really it varies. And then there's some that have just like been in the works for years.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's not
Wow.
unlike I think it's really kind of a unique little piece in that regard.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Are you the one that like finds the bands for them? Like
Yeah, I'm
you always have them in
the
mind.
curator of the Plexus Series.
Do you ever have bands come to you like, "Hey, man, can we do one? Can we be
All
on
the
one?"
time,
All the
all the time.
time.
All the time.
Have you ever like picked a band like that before? Like if one of those bands came to you, or like, "Oh, you are a good idea for this," or like, "I really do like your band."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty open
Yeah.
with it, and I really, as the series has gone on, again over a decade, so it's got a
Yeah.
legacy to it, and it's stable. Like I can do things where you can take a band that's pretty unknown and release them through the Flexi series, and I think it works in terms of the overall picture of it. If you're really into the band and really passionate about them and think they could grow into something,
Yeah.
um, just as you could have like, I mean, Converge is the Flexi in issue 200, so it's
I
like
know, which is
clearly there's
one of my
like,
favorites right there.
right, so there's
Yeah.
room for like some of the biggest, most established acts of the genre, as well as like some of the smaller ones. Like, I mean, just even 2 months ago we did one with this Dutch doom band called Celestial Season, who
Oh, I saw that.
I like. They were around in the mid '90s, and I absolutely love them. And
Yeah.
they reunite. They were gone for like 20 some years. At least they weren't playing that style for a long time, and they
Oh,
reunited.
wow.
And we were just talking to them, and like I think it was one of our writers, Chris Dick, maybe, that proposed the idea to them, and they were into it. And I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. Like,
Yeah, why not?
you've got to be able to, like, I think, take chances with either, whether it's the Flexi series or the cover or the Hall of Fame or whatever it is that you're doing, that are these important parts of what makes up the magazine. You really want to be able to not just have it be formulaic, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. No, it's cool that you've done that. I always thought that was a cool idea with the flexi disc. And that to me is like, why wouldn't you order the magazine?
Well, we
Like,
actually had to change it over the years, because it
really?
was originally, it was, when we started the series, it was every copy, like every subscriber copy got one.
Yeah.
And then it was like, as we were doing it, we were just like, oh my God, it is so fucking expensive to make all these and
It's
fill
a lot.
everything up.
Yeah.
And you would also get like subscribers who were just like, I don't know what the fuck to do with these things. I don't, why are you sending me this? So like,
I can't play it.
yeah, does this go in a CD player? Do I have to cut it into a circle for it to work?
Yeah.
Like,
How do you do this?
so then it became clear that like we're kind of wasting resources doing it that way. So what we did was we just created two types of subscriptions, one with and one without.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
if we basically reduce the price on the one without, and then raise the price a bit for the one with.
Mm-hmm.
And, people understood it and were totally down with it. And
Yeah. To have that option.
yeah. And it's really like kind of a split 50-50 between people who subscribe with it and people who subscribe without
really?
it. Yeah.
So you kind of know, yeah. Then after that, you kind of figure out like how many to order.
Yeah.
Right.
You get a print. I mean, you start looking at when your magazine subscriptions, they ebb and flow, but like you can look at it over a year's time and kind of just see like the trajectory kind of moves like this a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
So you're able to kind of bump it up just like very rarely.
Yeah. So you pretty much know how many to order and whatnot, and
Mhm.
not over order.
Yeah, and you got to be way ahead because the lead time
Oh,
production
dude, yeah.
forever.
Especially right now. It's like,
Well, we're a little fortunate with Flexies because the Pirates Press, they moved that machine that makes the Flexies, like it's now in Europe where they have it.
what?
So yeah, so the Flexies get printed at this facility in Europe and then shipped back to us.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're not getting, it isn't the big bottleneck that's happening now with U.S. vinyl.
Yeah. So they're not even experiencing that over there at all.
No.
No. So you got lucky with that. Yeah, because I like bands that I work with. They're like, yeah, we got to push the release back because we're not gonna have the vinyl for like 6 months. I was like, damn, that's like
Yeah,
happening now.
first it was like, oh, we can't put out the record because we can't tour. Okay, I think we can tour.
Yeah,
Oh, we can't put out the record. We can't have
yeah, we
vinyl.
want a vinyl.
Yeah.
The
Now
vinyl
it's
wouldn't come till 3 months after. It's like we can't
yeah,
do
it's
that. It's like
a
fuck.
rough situation.
It is a very rough situation. So what got let's go back a little in time too. Like what got you into metal music as a kid? What did you
Uh
who introduced you to it?
Man, who introduced me? Well, I mean, MTV partially introduced me to it when I was really young. Like seeing like,
Oh yeah.
Def Leppard Photograph and like kind of starting with some of that stuff in like the mid 80s. And then from there, it was just friends in elementary school. Um, I do remember a friend of mine when I was in like sixth grade
Mm-hmm.
made like he was like straight metal
Yeah.
like
Oh, in sixth grade too.
yeah in sixth
Wow.
I went to a Catholic school.
Okay.
He was
Yeah.
the new kid coming into sixth grade,
Uh-huh.
and walked in like first day. He had on a jean jacket with a Iron Maiden "Stranger in a Strange Land" full back patch, and
Jesus.
and he'd stand in front of me like during morning announcements or morning prayer or whatever, and I just like fucking stare at that thing and be like, "This is awesome. I don't know what this is, but
I
this
don't
is
know. Yeah. It looks fucking cool.
yeah."
Yeah.
But he also, he ended up making me like comping me or recording he recorded "Somewhere in Time" for me, a Number of the Beast, and then would like made me a mixtape
That's
that
sick.
had stuff like SOD and
Wow.
King Diamond and Metallica Master of Puppets was on that. It was the first time I heard that.
Wow.
So that's sixth grade. So I
That's
don't
crazy in sixth
know.
grade. Yeah. So
Like let's see here. So I'm probably like 12-ish then. I don't know.
yeah. What, sixth grade?
Yeah,
How old were we in sixth grade?
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
11? 12?
Yeah, so somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
That's the kind of like what um, kind of got me on the path. And then, from there, it was a lot of a mix of things like that and more mainstream stuff like, aforementioned Def Leppard and AC/DC and things like that and Metallica.
Yeah.
Uh,
It just escalated from there.
yeah, but then as I think it was, then by the early 90s, like 1990 and 1991, that's when it changed to extreme metal.
Yeah.
When some friends introduced me to like records like Beneath the Remains, and
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing Symphonies of Sickness for the first time, being terrified of it, not getting it at all.
Yeah. Being like,
Um,
what the fuck am I listening to?
yeah, but the one that kind of changed it for me, where it just clicked for me, was Obituary Cause of Death, which I
Wow.
guess I heard in like 90 or 91 somewhere
Yeah.
around there, by like 15 or 16, and once that clicked with me, it was just over.
It was, yeah.
So,
The
30
floodgates
years of this
opened.
shit. Yeah. Yeah.
That's rad. That kid opened everything for you. Your
Yeah, it
friend.
is. I still talk to him.
Do
So
you really?
yeah.
That's so cool, man.
In fact, he's an occasional contributor to Decibel. So
Really?
yeah, it's
That's
pretty
so
wild.
sick.
Yeah,
Dude, even like that early on, I don't know if I know anyone. I don't know. I
yeah.
probably do. I just never asked the question. I mean, for me, I started getting into metal and like, was it like, I mean, I started listening to like AC/DC and shit probably. Yeah, it was probably like sixth grade. Like, but that
Mhm.
was like, AC/DC, Sabbath, Def Leppard, Led Zeppelin, blah, blah, blah. It was my parents. But didn't get into like metal, I guess, until like ninth grade. around there.
That makes sense.
And
I
that,
think
yeah,
that's the timeline
yeah.
for a lot of people.
But I didn't get into like death metal. It was like the new metal phase first.
Mhm.
So like
Right.
the Slipknot, Corn and stuff. And I was like, whoa, this is extreme. And then I find out about like, Cannibal Corpse and stuff. And I'm like, holy shit. There's more?
It's it's funny being a little older and missing out completely on new metal.
Yeah.
Uh, because, when that stuff hit, I was already like
Oh man.
in my 20s,
Yeah.
So for me, I was just like, what's happening? What?
What
I was
is
like, okay,
this?
yeah, no, it's not for me.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
and it
Which I
continues,
get.
it continues to be not for me. I
Yeah.
don't, I don't begrudge people who it's for, but I also feel like there's some revisionist history going on with it.
Yeah.
Like if you like it, that's fine. You can like it, but I don't think you necessarily need to pretend it's good. I like a lot of terrible things too, but I don't think you need
Go that
to
far.
try to move some stuff around and be like,
You
oh
sure
no, I see the artistic merits here.
you sure you don't? I mean, Mudvayne's back together. You don't want them on the cover?
I'm
That would throw everyone off. That would be a perfect April Fool's joke if that got announced before April Fool's.
I think that it'd be kind of our new metal issue. I'm sure would be very interesting. I think it would. I mean, I
It would
can
be.
I can say there are a couple new metal records I like.
There are
Um,
some that are like,
but I like System of a Down Toxicity.
it's good, right? Yeah.
Um,
Very
I like
different.
I like
I,
a couple Deftone songs on the record that everybody likes from them.
I think it's White
Ones at
Pony,
the end, yes.
right? It's a
Um,
good record.
and there's definitely a Slipknot song that's catchy.
Yeah. I mean, even like the older Slipknot, like some of the shit's kind of like, whoa, this
Mhm.
is not like really new metal. It's kind of, I don't know what it is. But it's
But
kind of gnarly like even like their early shit. Like I'm talking off like self-titled.
right.
Mike Gitter is here, actually.
Oh, is it?
He said
Oh,
cover story on Primer 55. Primer 55. I did not
oh my
expect you to
God,
say that, band.
that's pretty good. Ask him if Monty Connor has any God, what the fuck?
Oh,
There were so
Monty,
many
man.
bad Roadrunner circa like 2001-ish bands that I can't even think of.
Dude,
Like
there's a lot.
Spine Shank, there's one.
Spine Shank actually
Yeah.
like them, but that's just me.
I they're
Dude, I
great.
love the, yeah, I mean, it's funny because I remember meeting Johnny, the singer. I worked for that label Media Scare Records back in like '09.
Oh, I remember that label.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
before I knew it was like a shit show. But I found out it was a shit show during working for it. Anyway,
That's usually how it goes.
yeah, we don't got to get into that. But I met Johnny because he started a new band, Silent Civilian, which was pretty cool.
Mm.
And I was like, when I was a kid, I liked Spine Shank. So when I met Johnny, I was like, wait, oh shit, you're Johnny from Spine Shank? I used to listen to your band a lot. He was actually a really nice guy. He's a cool dude.
That's cool.
He's a cool guy. Dislocated Styles, Mike Gitter said.
Dislocated.
Is that a band?
Get her. Tell her to get off line and go sign some more fucking Maggot Stop bands.
I actually got to call him back. He called me yesterday. I told him in chat, I was like, I'll call you back after this. We got to catch up. It's funny. I love Getter. We'll talk for like half an hour to an hour on a call, like a couple times a month. And always be like, so what band, you find any new bands?
What you got?
Well, I got some for you.
Snooping.
Yeah. I'm glad they signed Frozen Soul. Good band.
Yeah.
Great people.
Band.
Great people. They actually live here in Dallas.
They're awesome. And we did a flexi with them.
Oh, that's right. You did.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely a big fan.
Dude, they're the ones that caught me. Like they put out like great videos. They're always active. Like they're doing a lot. It's really cool to see that.
They have a good vibe about them. They seem like self-aware, but not like overly goofy and like
exactly.
Just good riffs.
Oh
just
yeah,
good riffs.
Good riffs, dude. Yeah, good riffs. Straight up. So throughout the years, what are like some some changes or challenges you guys faced? Was it
changes or
the digital age?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Geez. Well, I would say that obviously the pandemic was the most recent.
Yeah.
I think when there was the kind of the Great Recession in the US in like
Was it the
2009, maybe,
Yeah, it was around
um,
then.
that kind of changed the playing field a bit, where that like right around that time, Metal Maniacs went out of business.
Mm-hmm. I
The
remember that.
labels kind of got a little um, more judicious with print advertising, and
Yeah.
you kind of had to think like, oh man, is it possible that print magazines might just kind of slowly fade away? Is the
Yeah.
writing on the wall and we're ignoring it? Um, but I think for us, like we just kind of buckled down and stuck with the medium, because I think we knew
Mm-hmm.
that there were still people who wanted print magazines, um, and that it was a niche that we were good at and that people liked what we were doing. So if we just kind of tried to maintain our integrity in what we were covering and not really shift into, not pivot into these like kind of more websitey listicle kind of things, or try to um, break out of the genre a little bit for
Yeah.
bigger acts and go for
More
uh,
mainstream shit
yeah,
to try
because
to.
like for us, I mean, and I think we were ultimately proven correct, because those kind of bigger magazines with general audiences, they all kind of bit the dust.
Yeah.
I know Spin or whatever exists as a digital magazine, but
Yeah, it's still digital.
um,
Exactly.
you know, like like so like we were never a magazine that was like we needed a circulation of like 500,000. Like for us, we kind of always knew that there was a sizable audience, but it wasn't like, you didn't need to have it at every 7-Eleven, so people
Exactly.
can read a Necrot cover story that were coming in, to get their cigarettes.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I and so we managed to kind of weather that, um, in terms of like the change in maybe advertising from labels, going down a little bit, with like adding other revenue streams as the years went on, whether it
Mm-hmm.
was developing a good website in addition to the magazine. The
Mm-hmm.
Decibel Tour started, like
Yeah.
we started working on the first Decibel Tour in like 2011.
Damn, it's
uh,
been that long.
yeah, the
Shit.
first one 2012. So
Oh.
we were working on it, yeah, in 2011.
Yeah.
And so that became our first kind of legitimate foray into live events. And then Metal and Beer Fest in Philly followed a few years later, and then the Los Angeles one followed after that, and somewhere in
Yeah.
between there, Decibel Books started
Mm-hmm.
I when we acquired the rights to the original version of Choosing Death, which is a book I wrote on the
Yeah.
history of the death metal.
I gotta
Uh,
pick that up because I didn't. Obviously, everyone, stuff slips through the cracks, and that's
mm,
like one thing that did. And I read about it this morning. I'm like, what the fuck? I have to get a copy of this. Is
you
it
missed out
still?
on Choosing Death, huh? Yeah,
Is there still
Bazillion.
some available?
Yeah, Bazillion Points has it, and we have it. We sell
Okay.
it on the website.
You sell it on your website. Okay.
We sell it.
I have to get a copy.
But the Decibel Books version of it is sold out. But there's a version that's come out after that you can get.
Oh, okay.
Um, but that was like doing a revised version of that was what got Decibel Books off the ground, and
That's sick.
we've done like 7 or 8
Wow.
books
Yeah.
since then, and
It's
there's
impressive.
there'll be another one coming out the end of this year, which is going to be, um, without giving too much away, a
Yeah.
biography on one of the biggest bands in all of death metal. We're really
Wow.
excited that we've been working on. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just been a lot of, we've developed all these different things that are kind of part. They they grew out of the magazine,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't work or really exist without the magazine on their own. But together, it's really strong,
Yeah.
and we managed to, I think, diversify without, I don't know, just without doing gross stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
like that,
Exactly.
I feel like it all like I just try to to ascribe to the idea that if I think it's cool or if it's something that I'm excited about, there's a good chance that our readership and our audience is going to react the same way.
Yeah,
Because,
definitely.
I'm a nerd and there are a lot of nerds. So
Oh yeah.
I think I speak the language. So I just kind of trust my instincts with that, but try to do it in a kind of responsible way in terms of business management.
Yeah. No, so you guys definitely found a lot of ways to like make revenue to keep things going, but also do something outside of just the magazines, like the fest, Metal and Beer Fest, which I think is fucking rad. I went to the LA one, had a blast, and then plus the tour as well.
Yeah, the Decibel Tour is something,
and the book, and it's like you got all these different things that this magazine does.
It's a lot.
Which is it is a lot, yeah. Because you're the guy. Are you the guy behind? You're like the person like behind the fest and the tour, right?
Well,
I know you. Yeah,
the tour is Nick Storch.
Yes.
Booking agent Nick Storch and I.
Yeah.
We're partners in the Decibel Tour.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, we work together to.
You guys bounce ideas off each other, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I give him all the crazy ideas and he says, "Don't do that, stupid." And then he'll route something. I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's cool."
Yeah.
But so with that, it's a really cool, fun, collaborative thing, and he and I are good friends, and
yeah,
we kind of understand how the other works. And it's been a really fun relationship and something like I know that we're both proud of and we believe in, and it's been a great way to not only work with some of our favorite bands, but to expose some of these newer bands on opening and second and fourth slots and put them on the cover as a result, and give them opportunities and watch them grow. And then with Metal and Beer Fest, that's all me in terms of booking those events and
lineups and stuff.
Getting the bands and the breweries and the room and lining it.
So you're like the one reaching out to like the agents and stuff, be like, "Hey, I want them for the fest," like you do with me.
Exactly. You may recall.
Yeah. Some bands are always like, "Yo, can you ask Albert?" I'm like, "Listen, if he wants your band, he's gonna come to me." I mean, sometimes I'll hit you up and be like, "Hey, man, what about these guys?" I have to, I gotta, I'll ask, I'll bring it.
I try to always be cool because
I feel like he'd like your band, But I get it. Like if I were to do a fest like that, it's like it's gonna be like I'm gonna like go through my list of ideas, and then like if anyone wants to bring me some, like I'm open to it, Even comes with like my tour, Devastation Tour. It's like it's literally like my ideas plus my friend Bryce who works with me with it, and we just go through our ideas first. I have people like will hit me up, agents and stuff, but most of it's like what we put together, same with you and Nick,
I think there's advantages in collaborative work and there's advantages in having your own vision for something on its own. And and there's times where I don't want to do either one of them.
Oh yeah, I feel you that.
But there's also, I think it helps you doing one helps you figure out how to do the other. And I absolutely love it. Having not been able to do these has just been a bummer on so many levels.
I feel you
but
there.
we have announced dates for Metal and Beer Fest in Philadelphia in September 25 and 26 of this year, and
I mean the lineup is killer too.
We're not counting any chickens before they're hatched, obviously, but we're hopeful. I think if you look at the trajectory of things, there's a good chance that we can pull this off.
We can make this happen, right?
Yeah, and then we'll have another one at the end of the year in Los Angeles. So and that's not been announced yet. That lineup is still coming together, but the lineup
for Fillmore,
Philly.
I have it right here, which is, I mean, Converge doing Jane Doe, fucking Napalm Death doing Harmony Corruption, and Utopia Banished, Pig Destroyer doing Prowler in the Yard. I mean, that's fucking nuts.
It's
that's nuts.
Yeah, I agree. I worry sometimes, like every time we kind of put a new lineup, someone says to me, like, I don't know how we're going to top this, or
Oh yeah.
I'm just like, I was,
What are we gonna do
don't
next
worry
year,
about that.
man?
Yeah, don't worry about that later. Or at least, in the back of my
Yeah.
head, I always have, I often have something crazier I'm thinking about.
For the next one, right?
Right. But,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, it's like it's how I mean I was like nervous too with Devastation because the Dark Funeral year did so well, and I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do next year?
Right.
And I got like Rotting Christ and Borknagar. I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah, that's pretty good, right?
Wait, what am I gonna do next year?
Yeah.
Who's gonna do it? But dude, I mean, Converge is one of my favorite bands. They're definitely top 5, and I'm gonna try my best to come out to this. I believe I'll be able to, but see them do Jane Doe is gonna be fucking wild. Even Napalm, Big Pig Destroyer too. Was it your ideas for these bands to do those records? Like, did you went to them with like, hey,
can you guys do this for us?
Yeah,
Yes, that was me.
I want you on the fest, but could you also do this?
Well, I guess I'm fortunate that I've known a lot of these artists for a long time.
Yeah.
And we have good relationships. Like the Napalm guys are good friends. I've known them since before I started writing Choosing Death.
Mm-hmm.
I started to meet the Pig Destroyer guys around that time too, and we're just we're very friendly with each other. We talk and communicate about things other than just work in metal and bands and things like that. So I just I try not to be pushy. Also, I just try to be like, hey, I got an idea. What do you I think this could be cool.
Yeah.
And fortunately, most of the time, they're into it. Like we've done some crazy shit. Like we've like the last year of Philly, which had been 2019, Obituary did all of Cause of Death, and Enslaved flew in from Norway and did all of their Frost record.
Mm-hmm. That had to be wild.
Yeah. In Los Angeles in 2018, Triptychon came and played an all Celtic Frost set. The Testament did 2 classic albums. They did The Gathering and the New Order.
Yep.
Like
that's nuts. They did that one night, or did they split it up?
Testament did one
night.
They headlined the first night, and then Triptychon doing Frost was the second night.
Gotcha.
So yeah, you start doing these things and these events that are kind of just like this, essentially these one-time only things. I feel like it's a really great way to make these warm, fuzzy memories, and you try to live in the moment when you're seeing them. But I have like vivid memories of all those sets.
Yeah.
But it's like wild, like it's as it's happening, you're just like, holy shit, look at that.
They're doing it.
Like especially the Obituary Cause of Death set, as I said earlier, that's the record that changed like the course for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty wild, and I'm just really fortunate that I'm in a position that we can execute it, and that that the bands that we're reaching out to are willing to participate.
Yeah, no, it is really fucking cool that they're like all into doing that.
It's fun.
Especially like Triptychon doing Celtic Frost.
Yeah, that one was a long time.
Yeah.
By the way, I think I just spotted in back of you. Is that the Dan Aykroyd vodka skull?
I think it is. Discarnate sent me it, right? Yeah. Okay, that's what it was, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Pretty rad.
Discarnate sent it to me like last year. I was like, oh shit, what the fuck?
Was it full when they sent it?
Yeah. Surprising. Yeah. Still sealed. I haven't opened it. I barely drink anymore. I do, but I don't drink like at home at all. But I was like, when I got it, I'm like, I want to try it, but I should just.
When the first person walks through the venue of the first show that you've booked after this is all said and done.
Oh man.
Crack that shit open.
Crack it open. Yeah, that's when you do it.
Yeah.
I'll bring it with me. Like I'm opening it. I don't know what to tell you. I brought this tour here. I should do that. It'd be fucking hilarious. Yeah. So with the 200th issue, how congrats, by the way. It's fucking awesome.
Appreciate it.
it's big. How do you decide on At the Gates for the cover?
I wanted it to be a band that we had a close relationship with, that we were all big fans of, and that we knew personally and were friends with. Just to have it be more of a familiar
Mm-hmm.
feel to it. And At the Gates certainly checked all those boxes. Plus, we knew we would kind of get the jump on their new record, which will be out in July.
Yep.
So for us, it was kind of like, we could have the first story for this, and like kind of really get people's attention with breaking that, just
Oh yeah.
getting that album cycle stuff rolling. But the way, we kind of took that approach with the whole issue too, where like Carcass, who are also good friends of ours, are featured in the magazine.
Yeah.
The Hall of Fame is Lamb of God, Ashes of the Wake, which was a record that was featured in the very first issue of Decibel.
Oh, okay.
Like,
That's
yeah,
cool.
like there
Wow, I didn't
was
know that.
A Lamb of God feature in issue number 1, and
Yeah.
it was on Ashes of the Wake, which had just come out. It was just like,
Wow.
it was brand new. So we wanted to like tie stuff
Some
back,
stuff in. Yeah.
and then we did
Good idea.
we did a lot of other things where we wanted to highlight a lot of the people that were part of the magazine that have worked on it
Oh,
through the
okay.
years.
Yeah, because
So
I'm sure there's been people that have come and go, right? Like
there's been
anywhere.
turnover, yeah, like after 17 years. But some of our old art directors and
Mm-hmm.
editors and contributors, like we brought back a bunch of writers who were in issue
Wow.
1 who hadn't done anything with us for years.
Yeah, yeah.
So it
That's
was just
so
like
cool.
we wanted to have like kind of like almost like a fun reunion, and not necessarily, I didn't feel like compelled to tell the history of the magazine or anything like that, because we did
Did
that
the
stuff when we did issue 100,
Yeah.
and 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 that was cool and it worked, but it's kind of like, it's kind of evolving. And if you want to know about the history, I've talked on so many fucking podcasts over the years, you're bound to hear it at
You
some
will
point.
find it.
Yeah, you're bound to find it.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do something different,
Yeah, that makes
and
sense.
also just give more a shout out to some of the people that um, who've contributed a ton of great stuff to the magazine that maybe don't normally get their due.
Yeah. You want to highlight them.
Yeah.
No, that's fucking awesome. And then plus Converge for the Flexi.
Yeah, again, that's the whole idea. Like, here's a band that we're pals with, that we feel like aesthetically lines up with the core of what the magazine's about.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a conscious decision to go after them for the 200th issue of the Flexi.
Oh yeah. When I saw that, I'm like, this all makes sense. This is awesome. I can't
And
wait
it's
to.
crazy. It's a picture disc Flexi that
Oh,
that
okay.
Jake Bannon, he did original art for. So it
Wow.
isn't just like the regular, like kind of traditional Flexi face with like the band logo and
Though,
stuff like
yeah.
that. There's original art and like kind of etched or foil stamped like golds.
Dude, that's
It,
I
it
can't
looks
wait to get it.
badass.
Yeah, that is
It
bad.
looks
I have
badass.
some pieces of his art, one behind me.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see it. Oh.
Yeah. I have another one too over next to you. You can't see it.
There's
But
one that'll be arriving in the magazine that's about 7.5 inches by 7.5 inches. So.
that's so cool. Fuck yeah, I can't wait to get it. That one's that's the June issue. So when would when would you get it?
Right.
When,
Some people have it now. It'll be like
oh, really?
between now and the next 2 weeks.
Rad.
Yep.
I can't wait. When I saw that Lamb of God was on, I started listening to that record this morning. Brought me back.
It holds up, man.
It does still hold up, man.
Yeah. It's weird. It definitely brings me back to working on the first issue.
Yeah.
Because I remember we did a prototype for the magazine that before Decibel was Decibel, we were actually we're talking with the Fuse Network.
Oh, I remember a few. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably still around, right?
I think so. I'm pretty sure Fuse is still around. I'm curious.
So
now.
back then, Fuse had a metal show called Uranium,
Wow,
which
man, that sounds familiar.
yeah. So it was like one of their more popular shows. So we approached them about doing Uranium the magazine. so we could have like some like because like we were
Here
gonna
it is.
put it on newsstands and
Yeah.
thought like, oh, if we brand it with like if we reach out and have their like backing to promote it, this thing could be big.
It could take off. Yeah.
And we did a prototype, which I still got it here.
Really?
Yeah, that we printed up with Lamb of
With
God
Lamb of God. I
on
remember
the
that
cover.
promo.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that was the prototype.
that was the prototype for the Uranium magazine that they passed on.
Wow.
And we were just like, oh shit, I guess we gotta do this ourselves. And we did. But,
yeah.
So it's all, again, worked out nicely in the end. But yeah, so when I think of Lamb of God in that record, I also think of like kind of that experience trying to get
that going. Well,
yeah.
I mean, how did you?
There you go. That's a generally unrevealed piece of
that's
Decibel
sick. Yeah, I'm sure no one really has seen that besides who works for you.
That's about it. Yeah.
For the magazine. That's rad. So were you the guy that came? I mean, you came up with the name too.
No, our publisher Alex came up with the name. I'm not good at naming things.
Me neither.
My wife named our kids.
Yeah. I don't want that responsibility. I would not want it.
Didn't name the magazine. Yeah, no, just like I can do all this stuff, but like that's
I always like when bands have come to me or like friends who are starting bands, like, man, we need to come up with a band name. You got any ideas? I'm like, don't fucking ask me.
No, I'll
tell you if it sucks though. Yeah, I will for sure give you my opinion on that. So come to me when you got the names and I'll tell you what I think about them.
I'm bound to overthink and overcomplicate it. So with naming things, simplicity is often the best way to go.
Definitely. I do agree. Had a few questions from people. How do you, Steph Beachy asked, how do you decide on what band or story to write about or feature? Does it just come to you like every time?
The thing is, like, we have access to a release schedule, kind of knowing what's on the docket.
That makes sense. That's good.
So we're looking at stuff like, months in advance.
Yeah.
Of like right now we're kind of looking at what's going to be out in July for things that we're going to be assigning. So you just kind of start with just a list of things.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Then it just kind of becomes like what feels appropriate and what doesn't feel appropriate.
Yeah.
Like, is this like, oh, here's like 4 power metal bands to pick from. And it's like, any of these appropriate? And like, well, maybe this one is. They're kind of heavier.
Yeah.
It's really just like kind of a case by case basis. Some things are like more obvious, like, when there's a new Iron Maiden album, it's not like we're going to ignore a new Iron Maiden album.
Yeah.
But for the kind of
like younger bands
and like smaller bands, because like we do feature independent unsigned bands.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I notice that all the time.
So like it really becomes like a combination of like kind of getting to us, and then the staff of writers, like there's probably about 30 different Decibel contributors at this point, and they all have different tastes, and they all have different kind of levels of they specialize in different things and have so their expertise is spread out over lots of different subgenres. So I kind of rely on them at times where I'm just like, okay, you're the tiebreaker here with whether this should happen or not. You think this is worth it?
Yeah.
So that stuff kind of becomes like some more of the nuanced stuff is more of a collaborative effort, but every month there's a lot of things that are obvious to cover, but for the less obvious things, I'm certainly not above asking for help from some of our trusted contributors.
Yeah. Is that like the most writers that you've had? Like
yeah, I mean, they all don't like
not specific
a month or two go by and they might, you might not assign something to one of them or a couple of them. And then some people kind of filter in and out over time.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's about, there's the core of, I would say the core is probably closer to about 18 to 20.
Oh, okay. That's still a good amount.
Then there's like, another 10 or to a dozen. So on the outskirts of things.
Yeah. And I'm sure some of them like work together on pieces sometimes, maybe.
No, they all
No?
they all pretty much they all pretty much operate independently.
Damn. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I never knew how any of this stuff works. Like with like how it all works together, you know. So
yeah,
it's
they're all
cool.
misanthropic, so it's good. They just they can all
Yeah.
not have to talk to each other. It's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Another question we had: how many bands do you have coming to you and your writers on a weekly basis, asking for promos, articles, reviews, flexi discs, etc.?
If
Is it like
you,
overwhelming
I
or
mean, it's dozens a day.
wow?
And it's like like I said to you when we started this, I closed out my email
Mm-hmm.
because I knew it would be distracting to watch it. Like when
Yeah.
I open it up,
Do you think
it
you're
will be
gonna?
very ugly.
Yeah.
It will be a bad scene.
Are you the
Uh,
one that gets all those emails?
yeah,
Yeah. So you're the
yeah. I
one
mean,
that kind of like sorts through them in a sense.
yeah. I mean, the truth is like bands and publicists will also reach out to other of our contributors that they
Okay.
might know, and that's good because
Yeah.
like some of the publicists or band managers, like they understand, they've kind of or they've figured out that I'm not always able to get my ears to everything, so they have a better chance
With an.
reaching out to a writer of
Mhm.
ours who I end up trusting, and then the writer might come to me and just be like, hey, these guys reach out, what do you think about a review or a track premiere or a feature on this? And then I'll like pay attention and I'm like, oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
So that it happens,
That
a lot of it
helps.
happens that way too.
Yeah. That definitely helps. That's for sure. I feel like I've definitely hit you up for some things, but hey, you want to premiere this?
Yeah. And then
But you're the only one I know. Like I know Brad, Brad Zorddrager, which he
yeah,
does some stuff for you.
he does.
I don't know if I think there's one other person that's hit me up about.
The
So,
things that I don't want to listen to, I have Brad definitely be taking.
yeah, he's like the guy for that. Does this make sense for Decibel, Brad?
Like, oh my God, I hate this. You know who would like this?
I'm gonna give this to Brad, and
Yeah.
he'll know somewhere else to throw this at.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's funny. What was I gonna ask? There was another one that's good. It's No Living Witness. Your Twitch name, nice name. You have some good questions actually. What makes an unsigned band stand out for your team to cover as far as new bands, reviews, etc.? His band is actually pretty good. His band's called Pantheon. It's a death metal band. They are releasing a new record and would love to know how to cut through the flood of submissions that magazines and reviewers get.
There's no trick other than I would say that like kind of it depends, I guess, how much time and work you want to put into kind of understanding the publication.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look at our or if you're familiar with reading the magazine and reading the website,
Mm-hmm.
and let's just say you are kind of a brutal old school underground, almost like incantation style death metal band.
Yeah.
Like there are a couple writers that if you've been following the magazine, will be very sympathetic to that particular subgenre.
Oh, okay.
So
Yes.
if you can get in touch with those particular writers that are, again, the ones that are like most that you think will be most into what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
that can help because
Okay.
when I get like
That makes sense.
when I log back in, there's going to be like I don't know how many emails with promo links to bands that are just names and album titles in my head that I don't even have any kind of association with. So it's like very easy for stuff to just kind of slip or me to not get to it. So
I get that.
Yeah. So I would say just kind of try to know the contributors and see who might aesthetically
Fit with your band.
line up with you. Yeah. Line up with you.
It's like, yeah, this writer, I see him writing about this band that are similar to my band. So maybe let me reach out to him or her and see what they feel, because you might hit them up and they'd be like, wow, I really like your band. Like, this is sick,
Yeah.
And then they can bring to you.
Yeah. And that person who I trust their taste, I'm like, well, yeah, if you're into it, go for it.
Yeah, exactly. If you're into it, you think it's good. Yeah, do it. That makes sense. That's a good way to do it. That's a good way to, I guess, cut through in a sense. But it's like you gotta, yeah. I feel like a lot of people have to realize that you do get buried with a lot of stuff. Like I can't even imagine.
Some people realize it.
Yeah, not everyone.
Everybody.
Well, a lot of people think like I get hit up by like a lot of bands all the time, but it's like it's not all the time. Like it's sometimes like it varies all the time. Like one day I'll get hit up by like a few different bands through email or Facebook message. Please don't Facebook message me. Stop. It's my least favorite thing when bands do that.
I don't
email me.
Yeah, I don't like it either. There's some people that I do communicate with.
Yeah.
And I will say that I am the one guy who never installed Facebook Messenger on my phone.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, so I did not install it. So there will be, I can go days and days and days and days and days without seeing a single Facebook message. So, and that's how it's always going to be. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can go days and days and days without responding to an email also, but like it's still always a better shot.
You said Instagram DM it is.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
There you go. Yeah, it's like if I'm your friend, then it's like I'll pay attention to like the Facebook message or the Instagram DM. But I always tell them just email me a short little description and like just give me a link to your music. Don't even give me a link to your Facebook. I'm not gonna go to it. Probably. I just want to hear the music. Yeah, it is.
There's so many
because there's so many good bands out there.
Yeah.
That we still don't know about.
And then I also understand it's tough for artists too, because there are so many platforms where you think you can reach somebody. So you want to make sure you're covering all of them. So I get it.
Yeah, no, I definitely get it as well. Let's see. How did the metal, I don't know about this. I'm not familiar with the column, but Imperial Blackness asked, how did the Metal Muthas column started? Am I pronouncing this correct?
Metal Muthas.
Muthas. Yeah.
Metal Muthas.
Is it really spelled Muthas?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
Yeah. For you younger folks, there is an old compilation called Metal for Mothers.
Metal for Mothers.
An 80s thing. So that's the play on, that's the reference to that. But this column is a monthly feature where we interview a musician's mom.
Wow.
And have them, we'll find out what their son or daughter was like as a child, and so it's just the moms. Man, the history of that column is there. It's pretty far back, and I can't remember who started it, but the guy after somebody else was involved in it, but the guy who kind of like really shaped it and made it his own for years and years was Justin Norton, who still contributes to us.
Yeah.
And he did it for, I don't know, probably like 8 or 9 years. And then he was just like, you know what, we should probably turn this over to somebody else. And Andrew Bonizelli, who's an editor, and who I've worked with for, my God, like almost 17 years now. Like he handles it. But there's, you have to forgive me because I think we talked about it a little bit in issue 200, the genesis of it. And I think that,
oh, really?
And I'm not sure that we even remembered it correctly. It's one of those that like, it goes so far back and I'd have to like really sit down and flip through dozens and dozens of issues to kind of figure out its origin point. But
yeah.
The basic line is it's been around, I would say probably about a dozen years, at least a decade.
Wow.
And the guy who kind of maybe did not create it, but pushed it along would have been Justin Norton.
Wow. That's cool. That's a cool column. I gotta go read it.
It's fun.
I don't know why I didn't. That's a cool idea, actually. So how many people actually work for Decibel? Like who's like the longest running employee that you have? Or
that would be Patty Moran, who does customer service for Decibel, who's been there since the beginning.
Wow.
She's been at Red Flag Media the whole time.
Yeah, because it's under okay.
But yeah, so she was doing some other work for Decibel. She wasn't always the customer service and fulfillment person, but she has been, again, she's been doing that for like a decade.
Wow.
And then, she's a full-time person. Our ad sales guy, James Lewis, started at the end of 2014. Our art
Okay.
director, is Mike Wahlberg, who designs everything in the magazine, designs all our books, designs all the event logos,
Jesus.
and is the guy who basically directed the 200th issue show, which has like some of the best art and transitions and feel of any streaming event I've seen so far. It's just like, it looks really fucking cool and it's really fun. So he does all that shit.
Yeah, that's a big job too.
And then there's another guy named Aaron Salsberry who started. He was going to be, he started like about 2 months before the pandemic started, and he was going to be the guy who worked on live event stuff with me and handled marketing stuff and did a lot of the beer and brewery stuff for Metal and Beer Fest. So when all that got shut down, he stayed on with the company, but was contributing to another publication under the publisher. But he's been involved a bit with the 200th issue show streaming event, and obviously now that we're getting ourselves in a position to hopefully be able to execute live events again, he's going to be like
back on.
I think he's going to be more back on the Decibel side of the fence, doing that stuff, or at least have a heavier role in Decibel. But that's it. That's all.
That's the core.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
We're a small company.
Yeah. I had a question from someone. It said, on a scale of 0 to hero, how much do you like your art director? I feel like that's in the chat, and I could be wrong. Because he said, Christ, it is killing me that Albert is not reading the comments, because he's had some like ones that I'm like, I don't know about this.
Refresh my memory again. Who is my art director? Yeah, no, I'd say he's definitely on the needle's much closer to Hero.
Yeah.
The New York Times needle has him over here with Hero, and then Zero's that way. Yeah, he's good.
Before that, he's like, all of Decibels written by Albert. The different writer names are just Albert wearing a progressively sillier hat. Imagine that. And
it's
then
all a ruse.
And before that, he said he wanted to put Trivium on the cover again, but they were busy. And then he's had some funny comments in here, and I feel like it's him, but I could be totally wrong.
It's probably a good guess. I can't see these.
His name is the Fat Kid Illis. That's him. Before that, he was like Rob Zombie biography book confirmed. Leaking it to Blabbermouth.
I take back all the nice things that I said about him.
My God. He said, I love you, Albert. Thank you for the laughs. Dude, man, I can't wait to go to a Decibel Tour again and the fest. As far as I wanted to also ask, like when it comes to the Metal and Beer Fest, and choosing the beers for it, is that all you, or do you have some of your team like helping you out with like kind of picking or who to hit up? I guess
with the breweries,
yeah,
it's usually me, and then as Metal and Beer Fest has grown, we have breweries that reach out to us also.
Oh, okay. I figure, yeah. So, I would think so.
We do have, which is cool because there's things that like are like perfect that I might not have known about.
Because there's a lot.
There are a lot. There are a ton.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna have like around 20 this year.
Wow.
There.
It's impressive.
So yeah, but in terms of the actual beer selection, I don't have any.
Yeah, you don't say that, right?
I just, I let the breweries do their own thing. We try to like make sure they each have a couple styles represented. Occasionally, they'll collaborate with us on things like, we'll do a festival beer.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we just collaborated with Adroit Theory, which is this incredible brewery in down in Virginia, on a beer for the 200th issue live stream.
Yes.
It's called 200.
I love it.
It just got canned like 2 days ago and showed up at my house. Very excited.
And what
Yes, Can
brewery did it?
Maple, Adroit Theory.
Detroit Theory.
Yeah, Google them. They are fantastic, and they ship to something around 20 states in the
Oh,
U.S.
okay.
So you might be lucky. You might be able to get it in Texas. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna
But
have to look.
this is a extremely extreme Russian Imperial Stout
Damn.
that clocks in at 14% ABV. So this is a
Damn.
sipper. This is a sipper.
That's a sipper
Um,
for sure.
I
Jesus,
had a
14%.
little bit of one last night. There's like all kinds of crazy notes of like peanut butter and cocoa and coconut and
Holy
pretzel.
shit. What?
This might be a dessert beer,
Yeah.
if such a thing exists.
That's
Um,
like a nice nighttime dessert
yeah,
beer.
so you can get that. You can get it in time for the live stream on April 30th, and you can get a ton of other rad stuff that on the Droid Theory site, which ranges from um, crushable like IPAs
Oh
to
wow.
like these fucking hammers of imperial stouts. So yeah, there's a lot of variation, but everything they do is great.
That's sick. Yeah, that's awesome.
And
Yeah, a lot
they're
of people
super
are
metal. They're
they're
super
super
metal.
metal. Yeah.
They pour at Metal and Beer Fest every year.
Really?
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're
they'll
always
be
there.
there. Yep.
Yeah, when I went, what year was it? 2018.
Mm,
Went to the LA one.
okay.
Yeah, which was fucking awesome. But it's cool because there's no other fest. Like obviously every fest has fucking alcohol,
Right.
but not have all these different like beer companies there. Breweries companies. My God, breweries there.
That
Like
was
no
a
one's
trip.
doing that.
Yeah. I
Is it
mean,
hard to organize all that shit?
yeah.
Yeah.
But
True. Yeah. I mean, that's a
I
lot of
mean,
work.
we've we've done we've done two in LA and three in Philadelphia so far, and we were obviously
Okay.
on the cusp of doing the fourth in Philly, and hopefully can execute it in September. So
Yeah.
we kind of I don't want to say we know what we're doing because that's not true. But we
You're always
we
learning something new every year.
we're way better at faking it than we were several years ago. So
Oh,
I
that's
think
good.
we can manage it. But yeah, it's a bunch of things to coordinate, and it definitely takes a couple people to work on it. There's a former Decibel employee by the name of Alex Yard,
Hmm.
who worked with me on many of those fests. She ended up taking a job at Live Nation,
Okay.
but she definitely worked really hard on kind of some of the logistic stuff with the beer because it can get
Oh
really
man.
confusing.
Yeah, I could imagine. I mean, I used to do like sponsors and vendors for this fest in Texas called So What Music Fest. And
Mhm.
that was just like, I remember one year it was like we probably had like 40 something vendors.
Yeah,
And then I'm there day of, organizing it all, putting everyone in their spots because we did it at a baseball stadium in Grand Prairie, which is a little bit outside of Dallas. Sick spot for a festival. Probably one of my favorite spots I've been to for like an outdoor fest.
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, they have like a bunch of suites upstairs, like 20 of them. We'd give it to like the headlining bands, and then we had some for like the staff and stuff. But anyway, like organizing it all, and then like going through the list, being like, okay, because you got to kind of like obviously give the good spots to the vendors that pay more
Paid the
to have a
most.
bigger
Yeah.
spot because there's different sizes, not many, like two or three different sizes. Two, I think only two actually. It's been a few years, but anyway, doing that. And then obviously you always have the people that are like, man, can we get a better spot? And I'm like, well, it's your first year here. Like you want, you only have the 10 by 10, and yeah, it's so annoying sometimes.
Yeah, and
It's like,
people show up with different expectations. People show
yeah.
up with problems like, oh, do you have any? I need a shirt rack, or I need another chair.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude, I
like all
hate.
those kinds of like annoying
Yeah,
things that you don't want to deal with. And fortunately, I often don't have to deal with that because it's definitely more
the
the
venue,
talent,
the
the
talent.
stuff with the talent and the venue that,
Yeah,
and that's its own. That has a whole, as you know, that has a whole
a
other set.
whole, the whole. Yeah, no, exactly. It's fucking insane. But, well, dude, that's fucking awesome. I'm happy that the magazine is still going because I've been a fan of Decibel for a while, and I love what you do, and I love everything else. I mean, doing the tour, doing the Metal and Beer Fest and whatnot, I think is awesome.
Thanks, man.
Because you don't see that from any other magazine, really. No, you don't. Right?
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Right?
Yeah, no, I think
Cool.
we're unique in that.
Very unique, dude. Very unique, and I love it. Again, congrats on the 200th issue. I can't wait to get my copy. And also, I don't even think we met that year, did we? That when I went to Metal and Beer Fest 2018, I don't think we did we?
No, because I think we traded emails afterwards where you mentioned you were there, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I'm a dumbass for doing it. Well, anyway, I'm gonna try to come out to the Philly one because I definitely want to come out.
come on. I'll see
I
what you look like with. We can see what each other looks like with masks on.
Yeah, exactly. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for doing this today. And yeah, good luck with everything in the future, and I'm sure I'll meet you this year.
Yeah, man. Thank you again, and thank you for taking my Twitch virginity today.
Yeah, I did it.
Big day. Big day.
All right, we're gonna go. I'll let you go. We're gonna go raid somebody, as in we're gonna bring everybody from this stream into somebody else's stream.
You're gonna cross the streams.
I'm gonna cross streams, dude.
I don't want to be around for that, so I'm definitely going.
Yeah, go reply to those 100 emails.
I'm on it.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.